As he shakes his head,
He says the biggest difference in his play recently, a greatly improved return of service. And with a serve like that, Sampras is well fixed in both areas. Sampras with Andrea Yeager.
Pete, is that what you call playing in the zone?
Well, I think for the most part, I probably played as well as I could play today. I got off to an early break and broke him again, but I don't think Scott really played the way he usually plays on the grass. And as a result, I was well in the zone for the whole match. I was serving really well, and as a result, I won pretty easily.
Well, every year at Wimbledon, the assembled press corps waits for the first major instance of a disgruntled player sticking a foot into his or her mouth after a disheartening loss, and it happened today. Dutchman Richard Krajicek, after a surprise loss, told the assembled reporters that, quote, 80% of the women at Wimbledon are fat, lazy pigs who don't belong on center court or court one. Later, chastened, he scaled it back to 75%. Why? Krajicek might have been feeling a little thin himself after going up 2-1 and losing to lightly regarded Arnaud Bush of France.
The single most important element of the broadcasting profession is objectivity. The viewer has to be able to believe that you're expressing your opinions without any bias or favoritism towards either player. And for the most part, that's not too difficult to achieve. But imagine how tough it would be to broadcast a match in which your son is playing. That's exactly the dilemma Fred Stolle, the former Wimbledon finalist, found himself in this afternoon when he learned that he would be broadcasting his son Sandon's match versus Ivan Lendl for Australian television.
Well, he's nervous, and I'm nervous, and that's only to be expected. He said to me this morning, Dad, he said, why do people have to get nervous? And I said, well, it's just part of the makeup, and nobody can do much about that.
Earlier this week, Sandon was up a set on Karl Novacek before the number 23 ranked player in the world retired. Then in round two, with Dad courtside for part of the match, Sandon defeated British hopeful Chris Wilkinson in a match that included a 15-13 tiebreaker. Producer Tony Sinclair said Fred had a little trouble with his concentration in that match.
Ladies, actually, what we were doing was coming out of a commercial break, giving the score update. Well, at one stage we went across there during the tiebreak, and it was about 12-11, and Fred completely lost the thread of the match. He had to be stopped, basically, by Newt, who was sitting with him, and Newt said to him, no, Fred, it's the first serve, don't overtrain, basically. It was nerve-wracking. I'd much prefer to call it, because then you get into the flow of the match, as opposed to standing there and then you think, well, how did he do this or why? And you want the kid to win, and it's difficult. Broadcasting, you've got to think of your job as well, and you've got to do the best you can in that area.
Well, it's very nerve-wracking for Fred, of course, and when we're watching anyone that we know well, you're going to get nervous. But and whenever a match gets tight, you automatically, your hands start to sweat. But with Fred, when Sandon's playing, I mean, the other day when that 15-13 tiebreaker, the water was just dripping out of his hand. And what annoys me most is he keeps putting his hand over and wiping it down on my shirt. So I think I'm going to take a towel up there.
But Fred wasn't kidding himself about Sandon's match today. He knows at Wimbledon, experienced players like Ivan Lendl are hard to beat.
I think that if he beats Lendl today, it'll be a bit of a miracle as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people give him a chance, but Lendl's been here before. It's Sandon's second time here. If he wins, it'll be a remarkable feat.
In an almost cruel twist of fate, Fred had to call the match of fellow Aussie Wally Masur while Sandon was playing the first two sets of his match with Lendl.
5-all, we'll keep you abreast of that match. We're now going back to court one, where Sandon Stolle has broken the serve of Ivan Lendl in the opening game of the third set and held his own. He'll learn in a hurry. I've told him that I've yet to see a call change here at Wimbledon in 31 years.
It soon became obvious that this would be a special match. With Sandon leading 2-1, Ivan Lendl was serving to send it to a fifth set.
Another ace to close it out. Lendl wins the fourth set, 6-3.
Sandon was headed for a deciding fifth set, but Dad was not. The network thought that might be a little too much, even for a veteran like Fred.
We're on court one, live action between Sandon Stolle and Ivan Lendl. I'd like to hand my microphone over now to John Newton.
On this day, it was not meant to be. The veteran Lendl broke Sandon late in the fifth set and went on to win. But it helped Sandon to know that he wasn't the first in the family to lose a tough match here.
I mean, it must be in the genes, because I know he's had a few
tough matches here at Wimbledon, but he's just got to learn to relax a little bit. I'm very proud that he's doing so well, and I just hope that he keeps going so he can make a bit more money. I can retire and live in the manner to which I've become accustomed.
Well, in a match like that, clearly you can never underestimate the experience here that a player like Yvonne Lendl has had. And if you turn to the women's side, that makes you think about Martina Navratilova. A little out of the spotlight, Arthur, and maybe that's good for her.
I think it is. Just as much experience, though, as Yvonne Lendl. I think the fact that she is not the center of attention, which is the case with Sellis and Sabatini and Graf, actually serves Martina well. She is not playing as well as she did years past. Her serve is a little suspect. So it may be better that she's in the shadows, and then when the time really is the right place and the right time, make her move.
Well, Martina is one of the few players who had slightly tougher than expected matches today. Friday fights, we call them. Let's take a look.
New rackets, same old game for Martina Navratilova on court one. The opponent, Barbara Rittner, last year's junior Wimbledon champion from Germany. Rittner in the far court, Martina receiving serve in the near.
Well, whenever you play Martina, you know she's going to come to the net.
First set, 4-2 Martina. Rittner receiving serve.
Game is not over.
And Martina went up 5-2. But then Rittner got some points.
She started to play better then.
Game is written.
Not intimidated anymore.
And she got to 5-5 to create some nervous moments for Martina. At 5-5 in the first, a break point with Navratilova serving. Chance for Rittner to go up 6-5. Martina in the near court.
And here's the chance. Point blank range. And the shot of the day. Certainly behind the back and right down the middle. Let's watch that again. Now she has her dead right and around the back and past the right side of Barbara Rittner.
Averting the service break and giving the chance to Martina to maintain an advantage. She got the 6-5. A long competitive rally closed out by Martina to win the set 7-5. From there on out, she was fully in control. Second set 1-1.
As often happens, a player like Rittner gets that close to winning a set but doesn't do it. The next set is routine.
And with victory in hand, Martina talked to our Andrea Jaeger about the 1 point that turned the match around.
Martina, how big was that behind-the-back volley?
Huge. Turned the match around for me because I was up 5-3 serving. I had been cruising on my serve, 30 love, and she came back, broke me. Then I was up love 30 on her serve, set point. She hit a great passing shot down the line. 5-all, I'm up 30 love, serving. Again, she comes back, has a break point, and at that point I hit it behind the back. And if I didn't hit it, it's 6-5. She's serving for the set, so that turned the match around nicely for me.
Can anybody knock Monica Seles out of the tournament? Today, 28-year-old Peruvian veteran Laura Gildemeister had her shot. First set, 1-love Seles.
Just inside the sideline.
And on the strength of winners like that, Gildemeister stayed tight at 4-4. Seles serving in the near court.
But no matter how tight the match becomes in the first set, you always get the feeling that it's just a matter of time.
5-4 Seles in the first.
Time now to close out matters.
No margin for error against Monica Seles. He just keeps banging the ball back. Took the first set 6-4 and got the 3-love in the second. Gildemeister serving.
Just relentless pressure from Monica Seles. No matter what you try, she's got an answer.
And Gildemeister drops out of the competition at this point. 5-love Celis in the second. But that winner gave Gildemeister a chance to win one game in the second. They reached 5-1 Celis. The serve getting better, Arthur?
Certainly looks like it, at least here on court one.
Same game, match point.
17 matches on their way to the Grand Slam, possibly 11 to go.
Monica Seles, the winner, 6-4, 6-1. An analysis of what happened in the match, Arthur.
Well, Seles certainly served more winners. Gildemeister, that's where she broke down. Unforced errors, 26.